Hello everyone, welcome back to another Shoutcast. This time, myself and the others are playing on one of my favorite maps, Wilderness. We'll get started right away. Times 10 speed. It's one of my favorite maps. Wilderness is very large and very open, and maneuvers are very important on this map. It's not a camping map by any means. The aggressor usually has a pretty good advantage. That and every location is different, makes the map very interesting to play on. I'm playing right now on location 4, which is by far the hardest location on this map. I wanted to give it a go and see what I could do here. This is only my second time playing on this location. The tricky things about this location is that the stone is not very close to the storehouse, and gold is very far. Now you can go for the gold down here, which is a little closer, but since coal is still very far away, it won't make efficient gold production, and you still need to go all the way over here for coal. But in the end, you're going to have to go for this coal anyway, so usually I prefer to go this way, or of the 2 times I played on this location, I went for the gold up here. Because this coal you need anyway. I try to get my stonemasons up quickly, because the road up here is going to take many stones. So I want to get a lot of stones early on. And I'm also storing stones. Storing stones will enable me to get a few extra stones while my quarries are sitting still doing nothing. Take a look at my teammate. This is Shadaoe. He's playing on location 1. It's a very nice location. It's small, but if you manage your space, it can be a very efficient location. Iron is very close. Gold is close, but not super close. Again, not near as far as it is on 4, though. There are many trees down here, but it actually is not as... You'll need more woodcutters than what can fit just right here. You'll have to expand over here, or maybe put woodcutters over here if you cut these trees out and don't keep them there. Because just right here you can only fit about 6 woodcutters or so, which is enough for a small base, but normally you're going to want a few more. These trees right here, usually I like to cut and not replant because, as I always say, I don't like trees in the middle of my base. It makes it much less efficient, since your town will have to be larger than it needs to be. Our first opponent I'll introduce is Toe. He is playing on location 3, probably the best location on the map. Primarily because of all these trees here. I mean, this is an insane amount of trees. Gold is distant, but it's nothing that's unhandleable. It's not too far if you build your quarries on the way to the gold, as you can see here. Once your quarries are done, you're already pretty close. Iron is also very close, and with the coal right here, your iron production situated in this location makes for a very good iron production. I can see over here, Toe is doing an interesting thing. He is making his farms right next to his woodcutters. Now, naturally, this makes the woodcutters a little less efficient because they can't plant trees over here by the farms. But he is able to make one less road. If he were, for example, to put his trees or his farms on the other side of his inn, firstly, then he'll have to build a road down all the way over here, and another road over here for his trees. Doing it this way, he can save the road over here in the early game and just make one road. That will enable him to get his wood and farms up much quicker. See, now he's going for a road over here. But the advantage of waiting is that he already has his wood production and farm production running. And finally, this is Thunder, playing on location 2. Nice things about this location is that the gold is very close and there is a lot of room here. You can put your many woodcutters up here, and many over here. You can also fit many farms. The tricky thing about this location is this gap right here. This is a very weak spot for this location. Everywhere else is easy to guard. here, and here. It's not hard to block off. By far the easiest location to block off, but here is tricky. If you don't block this off, location 4 is able to get to you very easily. Location 4 is actually able to slip troops up through here faster than you are able to if your barracks is on this side of the town. You can see Thunder's planning on putting his barracks here. If he builds many coal mines here, it'll be hard for him to move his troops over here to defend if he sees an army coming up through here. So managing this space is very important for this location. Back to what I'm doing over here. It's already 27 minutes in the game. I've spent a lot of it rambling about many things, but anyway. Trying to get a lot of farms up. Normally you want to play to your location's strengths. This time I didn't. I went for plenty of leather, or I tried to go for plenty of leather early on, instead of going for a lot of iron early on, which is what is more normal on this location since iron is so close. Another thing I did is I built a second school very early so I could get a few extra laborers to make this long road. A lot of players will build the second school right away, but I usually like to wait till I have my quarries, so I actually have enough stone to supply my laborers. Second swine farm going up. Shadow making thick roads. He's worried about the space becoming crowded. It's not going to be a problem from what I see. He already has plenty of connecting roads. You can see more road here. He's not using his space very efficiently. You can fit a lot more buildings in and make your town a lot smaller than it needs to be if you're not making such thick roads. In addition, the thicker roads take more time to make. A lot of his buildings have overloads in them. These iron mines, full of resources, have nowhere to take them. Toe's base going rather well. His barracks is up. Going for a third iron smithy. Having 3 iron smithies is very important if you're going for swords. Swordsmen take a lot of iron weapons. Or take a lot of iron, anyway. Toe also going for many farms. There's already his 6th on the way. And it looks like he plans to make more. Going for a stable, planning on making knights, no doubt. Thunder also having his barracks. Back down to my base. Lots of crowding going on here. I didn't make this road next to my inn early enough. If I did, this town would have been much more efficient. But having these connecting roads is very important. As you can see, almost immediately the traffic is lifted. That's a lot of things, or one of the things many people don't understand is instead of having really thick roads, just having a lot of roads running, a lot of little roads running between your buildings really helps with the efficiency of your town. Still only 4 quarries because I stored so much stone early on. I was able to only make 4 quarries for most of the peacetime. But here I am going for a 5th. I know I'll need at least 5 if I'm going to make many towers, which I plan on doing. Now, Shadow here going for lances and crossbowmen it's going to be. Now, Back when Shadaoe was more active, in the older release of the remake, the strongest combination in the game was crossbowmen and lance carriers, but now it is fair to say that it is the worst, actually, the weakest combination in the game, with the exception of maybe bowmen and militia or something silly like that. But lances are only used for late game, or a cheaper counter to horses anyway. They're not as good for protecting your archers. Now you're going for axe fighters instead of lance carriers. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're much more powerful. But again, in Shadaoe's defense, he was a bit more active back in the older days. Toe's base is very big, but plenty of serfs standing around. He has 100 serfs. That is why he has a bakery, no doubt, so he can afford to feed all of these. Does he have a second inn yet? I do not see it. He's going to want to get another inn, otherwise probably be pretty bad crowding around it. But he is producing, well, just 2 types of food. So yeah, once his wine runs out and his fish, he's really going to want to start to get another inn up so he can keep all his people fed. The less food types you have, the more inns you'll need, because there'll be less food in your inn. And here he is. He's just run out of fish. And here comes his inn. Thunder building towers inside his base, as opposed to the edge of it. Slow things down so I don't miss peacetime like I did last time. Building towers inside your base is actually a very good way to defend yourself. Once the enemy breaches your main line, you'll have more towers inside. So that'd be one heck of a surprise for one. But actually here it looks like he's not building towers over here. So that right here is probably more or less his main line of defense. Declaring this as the edge of his town, not taking as much territory as he could. But anyway, peacetime is at end, so we will go through the armies. I have 25 swordsmen. I did get a second weapon smithy up and a third armor smithy. So I did get a few extra swords, even though my armor iron was late. I was able to get 25 instead of just 20. And only 20 bowmen, so this army is not very strong. Shadaoe having almost no crossbowmen at peacetime, but some lance carriers. This is not Shadaoe's best game, but we'll see what we can make of it. Our enemy has Toe has a very strong army, but not enough recruits. He would have 30 swordsmen and 30 bowmen, 34 bowmen actually, and he also has a knight ready. So he'll be able to do some scouting and harassing early on. Thunder has a little bit of everything, really. Some pikes, some crossbowmen, some axe fighters, and bowmen, although he'll really have to choose between axe fighters or bowmen because he doesn't have enough armor for both. He could instead make militia. Again, though, a recruit problem. He doesn't have enough recruits for all of this. Gold problems on location too. That's not often seen. He should... Yes, he does have 3 metallurgists. So he will be able to get his gold problems fixed quickly if his city runs efficiently. But in any case, we'll leave it at ×3 speed and we'll see some action here. Making a swordsman first. A good idea if you are low on recruits. You're going to want to make your stronger units first. This knight I traded for. It's if you aren't going for a stable, it's still nice to maybe trade for one knight, so you can do quick exploring, see view the map quickly. Maybe if your enemy doesn't have defenses up yet, you can sneak by into his base. just like Toe is planning to do right now, and he does. I did not know this actually happened. Toe gets a unit right inside my base. Don't think he causes any harassment, but we'll see. Thunder worried about this line right here. So we position some troops there. This knight has got me really curious. I wonder what happens. Shadow moving all of his units right here. Again, also worried about his line here. And Toe just now getting all the rest of his sword fighters out. Another player worried about his defense line. That was not finished. And it looks like Toe is just doing some happy scouting here. Here, I'm over here trying to kill off some scouts. I suspect that Thunder probably does not have this finished. And yes, I do slip a knight in here. I can see what's going on. Knock that tower out to waste those resources of his. I could have knocked a lot of buildings out right there. That would have been funny. But I'm too worried about my knight. I slip him out. And I see that I am stronger than him here, so I send my forces over to attack Thunder early on. I should have waited a minute longer, but I was worried. I wanted to catch this. And my bowmen do a hard time, or have a hard time positioning my bowmen, you'll see here in a moment. So I lose way more sword fighters than I needed to. It's quite sad. Now here I should have sent my sword fighters to guard this and my knight up here to chase these bowmen down. But I made the wrong choice. I have more melee coming. Winning this fight up here because I have ranged and sword fighters, superior to Thunders. But here I do very bad with my micro. Try to split these guys up, but I'm really getting mixed up. My range gets just annihilated. I'm paying attention to the wrong thing at the wrong time. And I lose almost all of my soldiers, or almost all of my ranged. And it's very hard to fight inside a city without ranged. Meanwhile, Toe is coming over here to assist Thunder. And Shadaoe is sending some units up to help me with flanking. I asked Shadaoe if he maybe would be able to flank Toe here. Now, as for Toe himself, Shadaoe would almost be able to come in here, slip past this tower, but we don't know it's empty. But just one tower isn't going to stop soldiers from coming into your town. And Toe really would actually have to send men back to help, because he can't really make much. Meanwhile, I just try to form a defensive line inside Thunder's base, hoping to pick off as many of Thunder's citizens as I can. Try to totally cripple Thunder's economy. Now, it would have been better if I would have engaged Toe before he got his range through, but I did not. Thunder having a quick surprise, send some units out to stop Shadaoe. But the pikes will not be able to do much. My army, not able to get my ranged organized with my melee there. I just ended up getting completely annihilated. Toe making short work of my forces. I send some more ranged up here, but that proves a mistake because I have no melee to protect against these knights. I try to sacrifice these swordsmen to save what I can, but the knight's proving way too difficult to defeat. I try to save what I can, but it's not going to be much. Shadaoe also losing the remnants of his army. This attack on Thunder did not even do... well, it did a lot of damage. He is having gold problems. 17 serfs. It's going to take him a while to rebuild. But, in the meantime, I also lost focus on my economy. My butcher actually starved to death. So, with an overload of pigs, I decided to make another butcher. But, my tannery butcher also starved to death. So, since I'm not storing skins... my skins have nowhere to go in my swine farms, so they're overloaded and they won't work. So my production falls way behind. I have no food. And I'm also getting no more leather armor in, so I cannot make any ranged. It's now looking very bad for me. I need to get my economy managed very fast, or it will be good game for myself. And Shadaoe soon to fall on a 2 versus 1 situation. So, although we may have damaged Thunder's economy, mine is just as, if not even more damaged than his. And at the cost of my entire army, and Shadaoe's entire army, it was definitely not worth it. So, having many ranged, and many knights, ready to start picking me off. Here doing what I can to delay Toe, and able to pick off some archers. Doing a good job killing about, knocking his numbers down to about half of what they were. My sword fighters, I'm not paying attention. Getting picked off by this large group of ranged. Shadaoe coming just in time to assist me. Toe could come over here and annihilate these men with his knights, but wants to finish me off as quickly as he can, looks like. But now Toe is going to be flanked as my men and Shadaoe's men engage. My hope is that Toe won't be focusing on these men, but he does send them in. These towers will make short work of it. Well, they'll be able to pick off some men and delay them. And I do have enough time to finish Toe off before these men reach me. Toe's army over here destroyed. I can now focus entirely on this. Now his melee is more powerful than ours, but we are able to defeat him because this hill right here, it's not easy to see, but you can't walk over that. So there's only 1 or 2 spots where you can attack. So our inferior melee force, with our superior range, is easily able to cripple Toe there. With Shadaoe's help, I was able to hold off Toe, but what I missed over here, Toe sent some militia in, snuck by Shadaoe's towers. So now Shadaoe's having to deal with a menace in his own base. I'm gonna turn the... Oh, I thought the SFX was up louder, but I guess not. Just seems really loud. All these people dying. Oh, that's so sad. But anyway. People dying from warfare, people dying from food now. I still haven't got my butcher made. I just now noticed it, I believe. Yep, you can see him. Just trained him. Figured out what was going on with my swine farms. As you can see, they're completely overloaded. Just like I did with my butcher. I should really make another tannery because, well, my economy is terrible right now. I'm not able to get any leather into my barrack. On the other hand, Thunder is doing what he can to rebuild, but here I am inside his base trying to kill a few more serfs so he doesn't get a chance. To help his economy get along started faster, Thunder blocked wares being sent to his barracks, but that also blocks recruits from being sent, so you can see as he opens it back up. His recruits stream back into the barracks, and he's able to quickly deal with my men in his base. And with Toe coming, I realized, there's nothing I can do. So, I split my men up into several different groups, and I'm hiding in all corners of Thunder's base. I want to be able to hope that he misses somebody, and I'm able to come back in and kill a few more serfs after the men leave. You can see here on their point of view. See, they can't see my men over here, and I'm trying to hide behind trees. It's kind of funny, really. But not too effective. See, I have a sword fighter up here, but they're going to find him. Shado's crossbow production is outgoing his armor production. Something some people don't know is that your weapon smithies actually produce weapons faster than your armor smithy produces armor. Therefore, it's important to have at least one more armory smithy than weapon smithy if you're going for crossbowmen or pikes. Whereas you'll need 2 armor smithies for 1 weapon smithy if you're going for swords. Now, building 3 armories for 2 weapon smithies for swords is also possible, and if your sword production outgoes it, you can just turn one of these off for a little while these guys catch back up. Which is exactly what you see I have over here. 1, 2, and 3 armories, and 2 weapons smithies. And you can see I'm turning these off for a little while. Actually, I'm not sure why these are turned off right now, because it's pretty balanced right now. But anyway, Toe getting ready to attack again. I have no range because, again, no leather. Couldn't get any more bowmen. I have many towers by this point, but it's not easy to defend your base with only towers. Shadow sending some more men over, trying to help me out. But again, Toe, more knights. He could easily take this out, but he decides not to. I send these militia around, hoping to see what I can do to flank. That's where militia are strongest, when flanking. Shadow trying to organize his men. And now these knights decide that they're going to slip down through here. Militia trying to scurry them away. But here you see, right now the recruit gets hungry right at the wrong time. These towers missing horribly. And Toe is able to get all but one of his knights in safely. I'm paying attention to something else right now because my militia that are supposed to be doing the flanking end up just getting annihilated in the open. Oh, here they go. They're getting out of the way. But I'm sending my men in now. I delete my tower so I can get my forces in, but here my militia get caught right where they shouldn't be, and they just get annihilated. They're not even killing anything. I don't think they killed 1 unit. They did buy me some time over here, but it's not really helping. I divide my swordsmen up into many small groups so I can move some around to kill these ranged. So right now the battle's not looking in favor of me. But after I kill the ranged and get a few militia up here, you can see that the battle becomes a stalemate. Toe now doesn't have enough troops to attack me. And with my extra men coming in, I'm able to get enough forces to do a counterattack and defeat these remaining soldiers. However, Shadow being picked apart by 2 horses. Ranged alone are not going to be able to counter this. He needs to be able to get some melee out. He can make 1 lance carrier. Just 1. And that's what he needs. Here he is. Good job. Finally able to get Toe out of his base. Shadow having a hard time being harassed the whole game, much like Thunder. But the attacks on Shadow were much more successful. And now Thunder, you can see his economy running again at 46 serfs. Really able to do just fine. He's making soldiers, whereas I am not making very many. Deleting coal mines to fit a little bit more defensive buildings in. Training what little ranged I can. And here comes Thunder into my base. I deleted my iron smithy so I could get my ranged in position to shoot. But just like what happened on Thunder's farms, I can't organize my melee with my ranged. And they end up just getting annihilated. Toe slipping his knights in. Without any pike, I cannot counter these. And the knights not taking a single casualty. Demolish my forces. And by this point, I am out of the game. Shadow, his economy. Not doing too swell either. 30 serfs. By this point, the game is over. I'm just trying to get a few more kills for my stats. You can see here I get a little bit desperate. I delete this tower here just to get 1 more bowman out. Kind of comical, really. And you can see right here I train him, just barely get him out of there. Deleting him a few more buildings to get my ranged in position. And there I am, getting 2 more kills. By this point, Shadow's like, okay, Ben, it's GG, man. Come on, give it up. So at this point, myself and my teammate would resign. It was a good long game, very aggressive, with attacks on everyone's bases except Toe's. He's the only one who was safe from attacks this whole game. But it was a little bit back and forth. Perhaps my side or my team was doomed from the start. But I hope you enjoyed watching. Look at the statistics. People have been playing with different nicknames lately, but you can see, of course, Shadow and myself. But Toe was, of course, True, and Thunder was this, let's see, I don't know if this is a Hungarian word, but it's a says Shalantes, I don't know. And I don't even know, but anyway, that was Thunder. Toe equipping by quite a bit, the most troops, and defeating, doing some pretty good fighting. I defeated the most, but then again, Toe had no tower kills as far as I know, and I had quite a few. And I lost just as many as I defeated. My big old group of militia that got caught in the open definitely didn't help the stats. True, or Toe rather, having the strongest economy and producing by a significant margin the most weapons. The army graph at peacetime, I have the most for a moment but when Toe gets his recruits in, it's a little bit more and ends up getting a strong army. This must be when he attacks Shadaoe and myself at the same time. You know, doing 2 assaults at once is really going to cut down on your army graph, but in the end, getting the both soldiers and winning with Thunder's troops falling behind because of the attack early on. And of course, horses trained. I only had the one. Again, I mean, horses bred, not trained. You're not training horses. Well, I guess you are. Training them for war. But myself having only 1 horse that I stole at the market, and Toe having looks like 21 or 22. Well, that is all for Shoutcast number 16, I believe this is. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.